Hi, this is Brian, the overworked IT guy, also known as Whiskey 2 Bravo Juliet Mike. I had intended on showing everybody what it took to build my new radio PC. However, my camera died partway through the recording. So instead what I'm going to do is focus on the parts that went into it and why I picked what I picked. So as you can see here on the screen, I have my part list. The most important thing I want to point out here is the website. That would be pcpartpicker.com. This website goes through, you add your components, it makes sure everything is compatible with everything else in your system, price matches components, all sorts of really cool features. I recommend it for anybody who wants to try to build their first PC, or even a PC that's not their first PC. I use it for every computer I build nowadays. It just makes it easy, especially for price matching. I shop a lot at Micro Center and Fry's, and they go into all the price matching details, and I just show them the receipt and off it goes. So let's dig into this. First up here, I wanted a processor that had as many cores as possible and as high of a clock rate as possible with a fairly reasonable price. I knew AMD was a good solid platform. I hadn't been on the new AMD processors in a while, so I figured let's give them a shot. So I went through the CPU list, nailed it down to a 6-core processor, 3.2 gigahertz. And the Ryzen 5 series. One of the reasons I nailed down the Ryzen 5 1600 also was it was on sale at Micro Center, frankly. It was $100 off plus $30 off bundled with the motherboard, which dropped it to $50. You kind of can't go wrong. Another perk with this one is it comes with a CPU cooler. I didn't have to buy another heatsink. It just sort of came bundled with it. Next thing on the list here is the motherboard. Now that I picked the processor I want, I need to pick the motherboard that's going to run on the machine. Couple of criteria that I had, I suggest you have the same, is stick with a well-known brand. With a radio computer, you also want really high quality, good noise filtering, good power stabilization. My requirement was also form factor, micro ATX in this case. So I wanted a chassis that was eventually going to be pretty small, so it was either micro ATX or mini ITX, but I wanted to be able to expand with some expansion slots. So I went with micro ATX. Mini ITX only has one expansion slot in it, whereas micro ATX has a few. If I zoom in, you can see I have 2 full-size PCI Express 16X slots as far as a 1X slot. 4 memory channels, much bigger than a traditional mini ITX motherboard. It's got this nice heatsink built into it around all the power components. Heavy-duty chokes, heavy-duty power subsystem in here. This is the Asus TUF motherboard. This is the one that I finalized on. Ignore the video display on the back, because this, in fact, does not have integrated graphics. On the AMD AM4 platform, or more importantly on the AMD Ryzen series, the graphics can be integrated with the CPU, in which case it's called an APU. However, the Ryzen 5 1600 did not have that feature built into it, which I was perfectly fine with. I've got 2 PCI Express slots here that I can add and will add a video card into. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So when I built this chassis, I just put little plugs over the back that came off the video card I bought to cover the HDMI port, so I know those aren't the ones that are used. Otherwise, this is a pretty standard mini ATX case, mini ATX motherboard from Asus. It's their TUF series, as I said before. It's the pretty hardcore line filtering type motherboard. It's got a perk where it has some color coordinating features to it with the LEDs that light, whatever. So the Asus TUF B450M Micro ATX motherboard. There are other chipsets. B450M is sort of the mid-range chipset for this particular processor. I just stuck with it and went with it. There's higher end ones, there's lower end ones. I wanted to go for something sort of in the middle. As you went up in series, it added features that I just wasn't going to use, frankly. For example, AMD has some really cool technology that they do for streamlining hard drive performance. I wasn't going to do that, so I didn't want to waste my money on it. Next was memory. How I picked memory was a combination of using this tool and also going through the Micro Center sale flyer. In this particular case, Micro Center had this G.Skill Aegis 16 gig kit on sale, so I just used that. And I added it in this PC part picker here. All these prices on the right hand side that are black instead of red These were the manually entered Micro Center sale prices because PC Part Picker doesn't search through Micro Center. So as you add each item, you can hit the little gear here and manually enter a price or have it find the lowest price for you. What I do when I build these computers is have it go through what it thinks the prices are at the most popular and cheapest online vendor dealers. And then ones that are not cheapest at Micro Center, which is my local shopping place, for example, I'll leave in here. For example, Outlet PC had Windows 10 Home Edition on sale for $99.39. So I just went with that. So when I print this out and bring it to the store or pull it up on my phone in the store, they can see that it's cheaper online and can give me the price match. So let's go back up to memory here. Really simple, $85, nothing fancy memory. It's not overclockable, or it is overclockable, but I didn't overclock it. The speed is about right. Okay, let's move down to storage. This is not exactly what I ended up choosing, basically because I went to the store and they had a better deal on something else, but very similar. I chose a Samsung 860 EVO 500 gig M2 form factor solid state drive. The only difference is how it connects. This particular drive connects to the SATA port on your motherboard, just like any other SATA hard drive. However, the M2 version connects to a particular spot on the motherboard that is designed for an M2 port. So if we filter based on that, and I choose the M2 form factor, you can see there are all sorts of options here for M2 form factor. Okay, I went with the 800 series, 850, 860 series. Again, just because it ended up being on a blowout when I went into the store, I said, yep, I'll take it, and walked out of the store. It was cheaper than anything on here. That was the only reason why I changed it. Otherwise, it would have been fine. Next, video card. Again, this is not the video card I went with. It's a video card. It's a very solid, stable video card. My requirements for picking a video card were multiple outputs. I wanted it to drive 2 monitors at least, and you can see on this it has a native DVI port, display port, and HDMI ports. This particular card was capable of driving 3 displays. However, this isn't the card I went with simply because, again, when I got to the store, they had one that was way cheaper and on sale. It was a GTX 710 NVIDIA. This would have been perfectly fine. This was the card I preferred. However, the card that was on sale was $50 as opposed to this one, which was $120. Trying to be a little budget conscious with a baby on the way, I went with the one that was on sale. No other reason. Next, the case. Corsair Carbide 88R Micro ATX motherboard. This case was very solid. I was very happy with this case and how it came out. Front here, even though it looks like brushed aluminum, is actually plastic, whereas the rest of the case is all metal. Very, very nice, well put together case, as typical by Corsair. Back panel, power supply down bottom, but the fan intake is up on the bottom here, and it stands up off the floor enough where it does provide really good airflow. Built-in fan for exhaust in the back. You see on the bottom where that fan sits, what's nice is there's an air intake, so even if it is on, thin carpet, I wouldn't do more than that. Or even on the floor where just dust is, you can see it has this nice filter on the bottom so it doesn't collect dust inside the power supply, your typical parts kit. Again, it was on sale, different prices, different places. This was a very, very solid case. Don't be turned off because there's a fancy plexiglass on the side. It doesn't really matter. You just want a case that's going to work and be functional. That's the most important thing. Power supply, Corsair 750 watt power supply. Some of you may have noticed that this is not a 750 watt system so far. In fact, what's very nice here on PC Part Picker, the top of the page, it shows you what your power draw of your total system is. This is one of my favorite features of their site. So this whole computer, when I was done, is 179, call it 180 watts of electricity, DC power. Now, the reason I picked this 750 watt power supply is it's modular and it's over-engineered. If there's one thing I've learned from all the years of computer work, it's over-engineer the power supply. It's usually the weakest link in the chain if you put a just perfectly sized or just undersized or even just oversized power supply in the computer. It's like insurance. Buy it bigger, the power sits there unused in case you add components later, peaks out at certain loads, whatever the case is, you want to buy a good power supply. In this particular case, I also got a bronze certified power supply, so it has more power efficiency to it. 80+% means it's 80+% efficient. And let me show you the modular portions of this and why this is a modular power supply. These jacks on the back here is what makes it modular. The cables that come out in this bundle are for your motherboard. You need those regardless. Every computer you build is going to have a motherboard, so that's what those cables are for. However, when you plug drives in, PCI cards, there may or may not be other power supply needs. That's what these cables are. So you don't have extra cables bouncing around in your chassis that you have to figure out how to strap down somewhere to maximize airflow. You just plug into these spots and use them. Modular power supplies have been around a while. They are wonderful, wonderful things. I will not build a computer without a modular power supply anymore. I just simply won't. There's no reason for it. The price is always really good. You can almost always find a decent one on sale. I have no problem paying a little bit extra for a power supply. In this case, Outlet PC has it on sale right now for $80. If we go back to my list, I paid $54.99 on sale at Micro Center. You can't beat it. Lastly, operating system. I need Windows 10 no matter what. Most of the programs I use for my ham radio run on Windows, so I picked up a copy of Windows 10 home. I already had monitor, I already had extra storage. The only other thing I added to this computer was a spinning hard disk that I had kicking around my office for the database functions on the machine. Things like Spot Collector from DX Lab and DX Keeper. I wanted a spinning hard disk instead of the SSD, so the SSD lasts longer. So that's it. This is my ham radio computer. This is what I'm doing the recording on, in fact. Everything runs great. No issues so far. This machine's been stable now for about 2 weeks. The install went nice and quick. The SSD drive, this machine boots up very, very fast. The onboard network card is a 1 gig network card, as you would expect in most modern computers, so backups off this computer run great. The dual port video card, no issues as expected. This is just a standard 1080p dual monitor setup. It's not doing gaming, it's not doing graphics rendering. The most intensive thing this computer would be doing is screen recording as it comes to graphics. So again, the cheapest graphics card you can get that meets your needs. You don't need to go buy a fancy, GTX 2080 video card, RTX 2080 video card like you'd put in a gaming computer or something. You just simply don't need it. And as you can see at the bottom, my price came out to, call it $650 ballpark. The other interesting, very cool thing I'll point out while I'm down here with PC Part Picker is if you're in the market for a PC but you're not in a rush and you want to wait, you can track your price points for all your different components and see how they've been going over time. You can see, for example, the video card has been trending down over time. So it's where, especially the AMD Ryzen processor, you saw where it was here in January, now in April, $25 price drop on it or so on average. So what I suggest you do is you put your computer together in PC Part Picker. Don't be hard set on your components, but look at what you want, throw it on your cart, and just watch it. Watch your local sales at your computer stores, your Fry's, your Micro Centers. Watch the online sales at places like Newegg, Outlet PC, all the various things that are on here on PC Part Picker. And you can just sit, watch, buy parts as they go on sale. I was very fortunate. We're getting close to end of school season here, so back to school sales are starting to start somewhat a little bit here in April in Georgia. So I went to Micro Center and just about every component I picked was on sale. The ones that weren't on sale, again, they price matched, so it worked out really, really well. So that's it. If you have questions, feel free to post in the comments below. If you like this video, want to see more stuff from me, hit the subscribe button. Definitely give this video the good old thumbs up. Hopefully I'll be getting my camera back here in the not too distant future, so I can actually do some more hands-on videos, go through some unboxing, stuff like that. Until then, this Logitech camera is going to be the way I go, along with my handy-dandy Blue Snowball microphone. So, that's it. 73s. Enjoy.